seats. I'm going to ask each person to limit themselves to 1 minute. First to speak is Assembly Member Hill. Mr. Hill.
Commissioners and President Peavy, I come before you today on behalf of the residents of San Bruno. Since the episode in San Bruno a year and a half ago, the National Transportation Safety Board and the CPUC's own independent review panel have concluded that under President Peavy's stewardship over the past decade, the Commission failed to ensure that PG&E's gas distribution system was safe. You yourself, Mr. Peavy, were quoted as saying that the Commission and those you regulate had drifted into a culture of complacency. Many of us who have been following the San Bruno case were surprised when we learned that you had appointed yourself to oversee the penalty case in this matter. Your lax leadership and cozy relationship with PG&E have been thoroughly documented in the media. That's why I find it offensive that someone so responsible for the culture implicated in the San Bruno disaster has taken it upon himself to lead the direction of this penalty proceeding. The residents of San Bruno have joined me, Congresswoman Spear, in asking that you assign another commissioner. Yesterday, in an effort to quiet the criticism, you announced that you would be working with Commissioner Florio as a co-equal in the case. This smokescreen will not work. It's critical that another commissioner be designated as the assigned commissioner so the public can be assured of a fair and impartial proceeding. I ask that you step aside in this matter. By refusing to do so, you would be sustaining a culture of complacency that you have pledged to end. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak before the California Public Utilities Commission. As I said for the last 17 months, I am Jim Ruane, the very proud mayor of the wonderful city of San Bruno. I'm not here to tell you your business or how to conduct it. I am, however, here to let you know that the citizens of San Bruno are deeply concerned about the recent actions of the CPUC. We're also deeply concerned about the significant and important decisions that you will be making in the near future regarding PG&E's explosion and fire in San Bruno. Specifically, we believe that it is critically important for the CPUC to exercise strong and independent action to enforce the regulations that are intended to protect the safety and security of residents throughout our state and to penalize violations of those regulations. We further believe that it is critical and urgent that the recommendations resulting from the NTSB investigation of the incident in our community be implemented by both the CPUC and PG&E as the highest priority. In conclusion, we want the CPUC to know that San Bruno and its citizens are watching very closely and with very great concern over the weighty decisions that impact our safety, our city, and the future safety of the many towns and cities in the great state of California. Thank you.
Thank you for your thought.
This morning I've come here to address you master players of the game of chess. Look in the mirror and what do you see? I see 5 chess players, all masters like me. And as I turn the mirror to this crowd, a PowerPoint made quite loud, that for every one of you, there's 1 million of us. Truth or consequences, would you care to join our bus? For we got all the numbers, time we pull out the stops. I've got a bag of feathers, outside holding the oil, be my friend the cops. So please accept my offer as to avoid the oil. Cease this fight and do what's right and treat these persons royal. For come soon, this year's 3rd full moon, and to all American occupiers it shines as our high noon. This 40-day strike be now at hand. It'll walk us into the promised land. And I say to all of you, cease your payments to PG&E. Open their eyes so they can see. So they fire their lawyers and CEOs, and we change the nature of these status quos. There's a new sheriff in town, that's Cactus Pete. I'm often bitter and sometimes sweet.
Thank you very much.
I live in Marin County, and I'm here because of my concern about smart meters and the deleterious effects that they can have on people's health, along with privacy issues. In terms of the opt-out now that you guys are considering, however, I don't understand how you feel that you could possibly consider charging people a flat fee initially and then a fee every month when that would be discriminatory, and it seems to me rather anti-democratic. it would be kind of like saying, well, if you live in one community, we'll give you gray water, otherwise you have to pay more to have healthy, safe water. And that makes no sense at all. That's totally anti-democratic and not something that I would think you could get away with. So I just want to say personally that I would be happy to join a class action lawsuit if that is what you guys decide to pursue, because that's not in the public interest, and it is totally discriminatory. Thank you.
I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I've lived here most of my life. And for the first time in my life, I'm considering moving to the country. Why would I leave a city and without a job that is so dear to my heart? I'm seriously concerned about the health implications of smart meters. Since they were installed in my apartment and at work, I feel a noticeable pulsing and buzzing sensation, particularly in my right inner ear. Sleep has become erratic. Only now, after a decade of consistent cell phone use, are studies coming out verifying the correlation between cell phone use and higher cancer rates. We know that smart meters are 10 to 40 times stronger than cell phones, so I can only imagine the health effects that will emerge about smart meters once there's time for more conclusive studies. Only this time you've all been warned. It will become common knowledge that smart meters and RF radiation are destructive to our health. Lawsuits will be filed, and you will look back and wonder, what did you do to challenge a program where there were already concerns being raised early on? It is your job to protect and act in the interest of San Francisco residents. Please do your job. Listen to the sensitive ones who have already felt the effects, and do what is in your power to stop smart meters. At the very least, don't penalize those who choose to opt out. Our pocketbooks and our health can't afford it. Vote for a no interim fee opt-out program. Thank you.
Okay, Andrew.
Hi. Good morning, Mr. Commissioner and CPSC committee members. A few months ago, I was here and you had requested pg&e to install analog meters, but they still haven't installed one, and I'm waking up with a headache every morning. I would urge you to ask pg&e to install an analog meter so I can live in my own home without a headache. Since I don't like to take off time from my work, I hope so I don't have to come to a meeting again and don't have to pay for the analog meter. Thank you, and I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Good morning. You recognize the gravity of your upcoming action on smart meter opt-out. You're aware that large numbers of people have already been sick and injured, and that as a state commission that, quote, serves the public interest by protecting consumers, unquote, that's directly from your homepage. You must make a decision that can be defended going forward. Without important modifications, the proposed decision is not a solution, but rather will perpetuate harm and foster continuing adversarial activity. One of several essential needs is for the Commission to collaborate with the public by holding evidentiary hearings on health impacts. Expert scientific and technical information must be obtained. You and the utilities need to know how and why adults and our children are getting sick from this technology in the short term, and you need to understand hazards for the long term so the offending causes may be eliminated and public health and safety issues resolved. A prudent course of action can be a benefit to all parties, to you as well as to your public. Thank you.
I'm here to speak against the opt-out. The opt-out is
Lisa Moscow.
Lisa Moscow, yes. The opt-out is everyone hearing it? I don't
Yes.
It's extortion. The opt-out. We shouldn't have to pay for something that is hurting us. In fact, I think I've read that there's a provision with the CPUC that says that no person shall be disadvantaged, prejudiced, or charged extra money because of ancestry, medical conditions, etc., etc. So it's just actually, so we shouldn't have to pay anything for, for something that is bad for our health, something that's not been thoroughly researched. Something that it has been researched in other places, like in Europe, where they've actually gone to systems that actually are okay, like the fiber optic systems. It has thing I wanted to say about PG&E. It's all about money, and PG&E shouldn't even be a shareholding organization. Shareholding is for capitalists. The point of PG&E is to serve the people. That's what this commission is about. So I'd like to ask you to please do that. Thank you.
This idea that you have, it's mean and it shows ignorance. You really better reconsider this. Trying to charge people to keep them from being made sick permanently for life. For billing purposes, 1 meter read a month has been fine for how long? How many years? But to do it for hundreds of times a month and thousands upon thousands of spurts of electricity going through people's heads, this is terrible. You're making a big blunder if you look to charge people to keep their natural health.
Good morning. I'm here again to tell you I want my analog back. PG&E covertly installed the smart meter on my home. Therefore, I see no reasonable purpose to charge me to remove something I did not agree to have, and a monthly fee not to have it. Mr. Peavy, commissioners, I see this as unethical. I would hope that PG&E will move to reinstall analog programs swiftly without further injury. A major reason that the smart meter rollout causes such outrage is the covert manner in which the installations have taken. Attaching an untested device to private property without disclosure of important information, without public discussion, and without customers' informed consent. I see no reasonable purpose to charge we the people to remove something we have not agreed to have, and a monthly fee not to have it. Thank you.
After 4 months of being smart meter refugees, my wife and I are finally able to live in our multi-unit building in San Francisco. This is because 2 weeks ago, PG&E put safe analog meters in our entire building. We did this because after installing smart meters this summer, both my wife and I became electrosensitive, and we've been dealing with this ever since. PG&E knows it's an untenable situation. So today you're going to vote. You're going to vote to see whether PG&E can charge our building thousands of dollars in the coming years. Thousands of dollars that my wife and I are going to have to pay because our neighbors are either unwilling or unable to pay those fees. You're going to vote to allow PG&E to blatantly and openly discriminate against us because we have a medical condition. You're going to vote to go against your own PUC Code Section 453B, which states that you cannot discriminate against people with medical conditions. And you're going to go against federal and state laws which do not allow such discrimination. Everyone here is not going to go away until there are no fees for analog meters. It's time for you to do the right thing.
Having been a professor of mathematics for over 30 years, I wonder how numbers are calculated. How did President Peavy come up with at first $90, now a $75 initial fee and $10 monthly fee? What calculations did he perform? How is the initial fee seen as legitimate for those on the delay list who need no meter change? How are these fees legal in light of Public Utilities Code 745, Section D, that has been repeated to you over and over and over? Where are the calculations of the cost of operating and maintaining the smart meter network? Since those who opt out do not participate, they should be credited for a monthly fee for a system they do not use and that does not need to be maintained on their behalf. I see no evidence of calculations in the proposed decision. I believe that the fee structure is simply meant to be a punishment and a deterrent to the opt-out. Commissioner Conwell must eat while we are speaking. It is the fault of the CPUC in your rush to modernize the electric grid that you did not educate yourselves about all the realities of the change to smart meters. As the public educates themselves and pull away from the smart meter grid, as evidenced by 49 local ordinances, you make those who opt out pay for your mistake. And you make people who opt out pay interim fees while waiting for you to do your jobs.
Yeah.
I have had an analog meter with total annual electric charges of under $60. The proposed decision demands I pay $195 in fees to keep my meter. Let me repeat that. $60 for energy use, $195 in fees. This is the Al Capone decision. Leave my analog alone. Leave my landline alone.
Yes.
I intend to live in my home, on my property, without unwanted devices being imposed on me through extortion, harassment, abuse of power, suppression of information, or other wrongful and illegal activities. I will not be silent and unprotesting as this agency, created to benefit the public and funded by the public, is used to gouge and harm the public.
That's right.
Good morning, Commissioner Peavy and members of the board. I'm from Santa Cruz, and since the pg&e smart meter's been on my house, I have two of those meters. I have one on the gas meter and one on the electric meter. I've been very, very sick from this. I can't sleep in my own home. I have 4 neighbors around my house. It's a little beach lot. They're all small little houses. Everybody's got 2 meters, and these things are continually broadcasting outrageous amounts of radiation to all of us. And I can't sleep in my own house. I fall asleep sometimes late in the evening. I might sleep for like maybe 3, 3.5, 4, sometimes 4.5 hours, and I wake up and then there's this horrendous rattle noise going on from what my brain perceives as noise. And this sound is not coming in through my ears. It's radiation coming from all these smart meters that are clustered right around my house. I can't sleep in my own home. And I think it's horrendous what's going on. And these meters should be removed. The analog should be put back on. We shouldn't be charged for something like that. And if we are charged, why don't you take it out of the pg&e's profits? They're putting these meters on all the houses across the United States, and they're charging us an extra $8 a month just for the meter to run itself. And that $8 times 12 months is 100. Times 100 million houses in the United States, that's $10 billion extra they're getting out of us. For what? To annoy us so we can't sleep in our own homes? That's insane. So I ask you, please allow us to not have that stuff in Santa Cruz County. Santa Cruz passed an ordinance to ban that stuff, and we shouldn't be penalized by having those meters on our houses, and we also shouldn't be penalized by having to pay not to have those meters on our houses. They should be taken away, and analog should be restored. Or fiber optics, because fiber optics doesn't cause all this problem. Have them put on fiber optics if they need to. Thank you very much.
Commissioners, thanks for the opportunity to address you. In my opinion, and bolstered by a lot of evidence, bolstered by a lot of evidence, pg&e is not all about money. The smart meter program also has a data component to it, where all of the data from these meters is being put into databases, permanent databases, which will never be surrendered, and which is a direct violation of everybody's right not to have unreasonable search. The smart meter program conforms to the engineering descriptions of the political philosophy of technocracy, which was created in the 30s. It's really eerie the way it does. And these meters have been rolled out all over the world. as a way of controlling the population. That was the specific requirement from technocracy, and it is being implemented now. It's unconstitutional, and it goes way beyond the health implications, which are also hideous. So people should not be paying an extra fee not to be monitored by the technocratic system. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, good morning. My name is Patrick Gunderson, and I am a teacher who lives in Santa Cruz. I hope by now you've seen the 37-page document that the Santa Cruz County Public Health Officer has published in the county. She was asked to give a report about smart meter health, et cetera, to the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. Her name, I believe, is Dr. Poki Namkong. Thank you. Anyway, that's very important. I've read it twice, and it's amazing. I want to also say really quickly that smart meters have not been UL approved. I used to, as a reason why I put a cage on my 3 smart meters that are on my house, forgot about the gas ones though, but I did the electric ones. I used to teach ham radio to kids and help them get their license, and so I had to have a technician's class license. I'm very respectful of microwave radiation because I understand it a lot more than a lot of people, and I now have clenching of my teeth at night. I just figured this out the other night. The last couple months it's been getting worse. The teeth clenching, now I'm irritable, and trying not to do it in the daytime, but it's scary. I also feel like it's affecting my breathing, and I didn't think that was going to happen to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom Rossi.
Good morning, Commissioner and board members. I live in San Leandro, and I live in an apartment building, and we have 43 smart meters inside our building. They're on the inside wall of the electric room, directly below my and my wife's apartment. They're facing into the building. They're not facing out into the neighborhood. They're facing us. We're directly above them. The signals bounce a little bit, but we've measured them very strong in our bedroom and our home office, where we are practically 24 hours a day. So, and the signal is very strong, and it's thousands of times more frequent than they claim it is. Now, unlike a lot of people in this room, I do not look up there and see evil people in front of me. I know what happened. You were misled deliberately by power companies and by the manufacturers of these smart meters. They told you that the signal was 1,000 times less than a cell phone, and that was a lie, and they knew it was a lie. They told you it was going to come out once an hour, and that was a lie. You were lied to. Please admit that you were deceived by these people, and come back to our site. Thank you.
I'm a tenant organizer with the Central City SRO Collaborative. SRO stands for Single Room Occupancy. I'm not here to talk about the cell phone since you had pulled that from the agenda. I'm here to talk about my friend Joe Clem. He couldn't be here today because he is sick. He lives in the Royan Hotel that's over in the Mission District. He has 13, count them, 13 cell phone towers sitting on top of his building. And it feels like you're sticking your hand inside of an oven, and your skin feels like it's burning. He's lost all of his hair. His partner has to take care of him, but still, he is able to do his work as a tenant organizer. He happens to be my colleague. Now, all these individuals here today are talking about smart meters. It's pretty much the same thing what he has to go through every single day. It's like a cancer cluster inside that building. These people were healthy when they moved into the Royan, and now, all of a sudden, you're sick. And pretty much that's what everyone here today is suffering from, is these smart meters. Thank you.
Robert Ernst.
That's my name. 3 points. The opt-out needs to acknowledge the health issues and concerns of those afflicted with EMS. First, by making available at no cost analog meters and electric and gas meters for both of those, and gas meters are really important. These health issues are on the rise. a sense of cooperation rather than bureaucratic and defensive resistance on the part of PG&E and the CPUC, I believe would move the discovery of the causes and the resolvement of these health issues to a swift and positive conclusion. You are the folks with the expertise and the resources which we have already paid for. You can do this. And judging from your recent outside articles in the San Jose Mercury and the Chronicle, you guys could use some good publicity these days. Number two, the opt-out policy is useless to solve the electromagnetic sensitivity issue for those afflicted unless there's an organized and authorized neighborhood opt-out option. Smart meters have a pulse sending range of 1 mile. Most people's neighbors are 10 feet away. Do the math. What's wrong with this picture? Number three, my wife is one of those so afflicted. For a year and a half, our annual combined income is $35,000. We spent 10 grand in the last year and we're still spending money we don't have. We didn't ask for a smart meter. We didn't want one when we found out your deployment a year and a half ago. PG&E put on one anyway. This greedy, short-sighted, unconscious behavior has caused my wife's pain and suffering. And now you want us to pay for the misery twice? Give me a break. Absolutely not. There should be no opt-out fee under any circumstances. That would be extortion.
Okay, I look forward you to line up in the corridor there. Starting with you, Laura.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Palmetier. I have a PhD in electrical engineering. I did this back in 1979 at Bell Labs. And it was exciting times, and it was really great, and we did a lot of work. Even at that period in time, there were people that spoke up, that understood the body interaction with electromagnetics, but people thought it just wouldn't get to this, and it was all going to be okay. And so you need, I think, to get these people to aid you in pushing back on the industry. People are not allowed to speak up. Electrical engineers that may be in the know, they can't speak up. They need your help to give you the power to be able to gain the strength to really look into the data. So when you looked at these two, where you accepted something that's false, you can see how engineers, some of them know, some of them don't know. The majority absolutely were not taught this in school. And when this peak of radiation is coming through, they just cranked up the power. And now we all are responsible. A lot of us closed our eyes, and we need the heroes. Like you sit at your TV, and we all watch the heroes. We need heroes that are willing to stand up. Thank you.
So good morning, this is my first time here. I have been following this for 14 months. I was a very healthy person up until 14 months ago, and the smart meter was put on my house without my knowledge. Since then I've developed tinnitus. 24/7 I can't get away from it. There's no cure at this point other than very costly alternative therapies, and even then they only somewhat relieve the symptoms. And it's directly related to the fact that a smart meter was put on my house, and I need it removed immediately. I brought something because it's really hard to explain what tinnitus is to anyone, and there's nothing that can really express it, but I wanted to give you an idea of what I listen to 24/7. Yeah. Can you hear that? Yeah. So, I'm sorry to disturb those in the audience. That's pretty much what I have to listen to all the time. It needs to be removed from my house immediately. Thank you.
I'm Michael Barrett, and I'm proud to be with the Utility Reform Network. And we work as advocates and appear to the Public Utility Commission to encourage good representation for the citizens. Now, in reference to public utilities, I wanted to speak on number 29, item 29, but I understand it was removed. Just want to reiterate that we must have good service at affordable prices, as was said. I'll be back on that. But PG&E, if issue 28, I heard a lot of reports that should convince you that these are not good smart meters. But I live on Nob Hill. Our building has not been addressed yet. But I walk all the time, and each intersection in the city, which is represented by Nob Hill, has 4 by 8 foot behemoths reporting with no identification that they're from PG&E that are sending out all the signals for these smart meters. Please remove those. Thank you.
Yeah. Give it to our executive director.
You can pass that out.
I'm shown a baby with cancer. Her mother was pregnant when she had a smart meter on her home. Where is her justice? Who will make a stand for her? I will. I will be an advocate for this baby. I live in Boulder Creek, and everyone I know has some type of cancer or some extreme health disease from us being the first place that PG&E in Wellington underhandedly and in a shady way against our wills put these death meters on our homes that should have been our sanctuary. This is a crime against humanity. Smart meters should be banned, not opted out. We, everyone, should be allowed to go back to a safe and effective analog meter at no charge. And who will reimburse us for the lost life and ruined quality of any chance to even have a life like this baby who has cancer? Will she be able to say the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all? What is her chance for life?
We've got a problem here. We've got many people in the audience who are using electronic devices and many people who are suffering because of that. This is a public forum, and if people would have the decency to turn off those devices, and we can all be here and participate in the democratic process, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
If you would turn off your cell phones and all, please. Thank you. Okay, Anna, log meter. Welcome to the pizza.
Thank you. Elvis sent me here to give you a message today. I hope you enjoy it.
You ain't nothing but a dumb meter. You got me crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a dumb meter. You got me crying all the time. Well, you ain't never been smart and you ain't no meter of mine. They said you was high-tech, but your pulses make me fry. They said you was high-tech, but your pulses make me fry. You ain't never saved me money and your promises are nothing but a lie. They said you was clean and green, but you're just a ball of slime. They said you was clean and green, but you're just a ball of slime. Well, you ain't never been natural, now you're breaking my heart. And that's a crime. That's a crime.
At a risk of further enduring this, we might encourage more of that. At our public testimonial time. Okay, Ann Harris, you have a tough act to follow.
I'm Ann Harris. I'm asking that as part of the order that you make concerning smart meters, that you have a special place for people like me with serious health problems in the smart meter. I have developed PVC, a type of heart arrhythmia, because of the smart meter on the living room wall of my little house. I discovered it a couple of months after the smart meter was installed. I had forgotten about the smart meter, but I was taking my pulse in my living room, and all of a sudden it was skipping beats, and it had never happened to me before. After a couple of days of running around and taking my pulse everywhere, because I was just hoping it was a fluke, I discovered that the only place that my heart skips beats is in my living room. So I kept looking around, trying to figure it out. Finally, I went outside because I remembered my smart meter, and it's right on the wall on the other side of my living room sofa. This has gotten worse and worse. It used to only last like 10 to 15 minutes after I left my living room, and obviously I stay out of my living room now. as much as I can. Now it's lasting 4 to 8 hours. When it's happening, my heart only beats 3 times, and then it skips a beat, beats 3 times, and then skips a beat. This can eventually lead to a serious heart condition and death. So I'm requesting that my smart meter be taken out immediately, and I'd like you to make some type of order that people like me who've been diagnosed by a doctor with something they've never had before and who can really trace it to the smart meter, that we'd be able to get our smart meters out right away. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. The day of reckoning is here. I can barely stay in my house. Half my house is unusable due to my neighbor's smart meters. My other neighbors who have agreed to a smart meter free zone in deference to my health crisis. But Bernal Heights is not a Russian Hill nor a sea ranch. My neighbors can ill afford opt-out fees so that I can live in my house. And I certainly cannot afford to pay my neighbors' fees, which would total $3,000 for the first year. Let PG&E executives and shareholders incur the cost of an opt-out program. After all, for the last 15 years, they've siphoned $100 million of our money, ratepayers' money, slated for gas pipe safety into their fat pockets. The tragedy of San Bruno occurred. PG&E kills for profits. CEO Tony Early stated that PG&E wants to earn the public's trust back. Yet in a KPFA radio news coverage of a smart meter protest, spokesman Gary Snapper lied. WHO says smart meters are safe. Right. We pay PG&E to spin the truth. Just like we have paid Michael Peavy for the last 9 years to mismanage PG&E. He's like the emperor without his clothes on. If he had ordered an EIR, we wouldn't be here today. And now our houses are toxic. Vote for an analog meter with no interim fee, or else vote the whole proposal down. There's nothing like home sweet home, and I want to go home. Let your hearts prevail, please.
I'm Louise Stanfield. The PUC has violated its statutory mandate to protect consumers and to ensure safe, reliable utility service at reasonable rates by allowing the utilities to force the flawed and dangerous smart meter program on the people of this state. We all know that the federal smart grid initiating legislation intended that consumers could choose to participate and opt in. The utility companies have subverted the program to mandate smart meters with no opt-out. Now the PUC mischaracterizes the smart meter as the standard and offers an opt-out service from the standard at a fee. The pay-to-opt-out scheme is arbitrary, punitive, and discriminatory. The fees have changed at least 3 times, clearly showing that PG&E's cost analysis has no merit. Those who opt out are effectively charged for delivery of electricity, and this will be found unconstitutional. Please reject the opt-out tariff, order all utilities to restore analog meters, and open hearings on health, safety, and privacy issues. Thank you.
I'm Cynthia Larson from Berkeley, and I've got a physics degree from UC Berkeley, and I am a sufferer from symptoms related to wireless devices such as the smart meters that are installed in my home and in my neighborhood. And I am very concerned that with the responsibility and obligation that the Public Utilities Commission has to ensure the public health and safety, they need to listen to the international group of physicians that has called for the stop of smart meters. They need to listen to the studies that are increasingly showing that EMF radiation from wireless devices is extremely damaging to DNA and living forms of life, humans and animals. And so I'd like you to please take into consideration those of us that suffer, such as suffering that I've gone through. Last week was sick with strep throat. I always have the ringing in my ears from the wireless smart meters, which have been installed in my neighborhood. And when I have strep throat, I experience a level of pain about a 4 level. So it's not a matter of if, but it's going to be when. We have to wake up and smell the situation. It's very bad. It's just like smoking and nicotine. We learned about the dangers of that. We need to learn about the dangers now. You have the power to stop this now. So please, no charges, no hidden fees, no additional rate changes for analog meter people that are opting out. You need to stop all the fees entirely and listen to your obligation to be here for our health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are in a situation like they were in Germany. We all of you, all of us have to make a decision as to what side we're going to be on. Someone once said, it's not the chain of command that you should worry about, it's the chain of obedience that you should worry about.
Yes.
You folks have the power to say no to PG&E. You need to take your power and use it, because after Hitler, look what happened. People tried to say, I was just doing my job, I was just going along. That wasn't an acceptable excuse, and it won't be in the future for this case either. So please, take control, no fees.
No.
I'm Richard Hirsch.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I'm shocked that we are not like the U.S. Embassy in Moscow being bombarded with microwaves, but yet we are. Since the smart meters have arrived, which are not UL approved, so if the house burns down, apparently insurance doesn't cover it because they're not legal in California without UL approval. I've suffered tinnitus, increasingly, headaches, and sleeplessness, and I think it's time that it stopped. Thank you.
Right on.
Commissioners, nice to see you again.
Your name is?
Nancy Huber.
Okay, thank you.
In this time of skyrocketing healthcare costs for the whole nation, we cannot afford something that assaults the health of every one of us. It's true that a number of people in this audience, myself included, are extremely sensitive to these radio frequency radiation that the smart meters put out between 10,000 and 190,000 pulses a day, according to PG&E. But all of us are subject to the deleterious health effects from this incessant radiation. The American Academy of Environmental Medicine is a national group of medical doctors who has sent you a letter calling the smart meter installation irresponsible due to the health effects. Many elected officials recently signed a petition urging a delay of the opt-out decision until further public hearing can be completed. It has already been signed unanimously by the Board of Supervisors of Marin County, Lake County, Santa Cruz County, Fairfax, City of Fairfax, City of Ross, as well as a last-minute effort in Sonoma County has resulted in 4 out of 5 of the signatures of the Sonoma County Supervisors and 4 out of 5 of the, including the Mayor and Vice Mayor of Sebastopol City Council. And the other 2 people we didn't get were on vacation. We need to stop this. This is in violation of California Public Utilities Code section, your proposed decision, which says no public utility shall prejudice, disadvantage, or require different rates or deposit amounts from a person because of ancestry, medical condition, etc.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's her. She's right over here.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Henny Kelly, and I am here representing 950,000 members of the California Alliance for Retired Americans. Somebody previously spoke about seniors. Yes, many seniors are isolated. Phones are very important to them. That is their means of communication. We support high-quality, reliable, basic service regardless of technology, whether it is a landline, wireless, or internet voice phone services. We want you not to downgrade the emergency 911 services. But listening to these other people, I'll talk for seniors on something else, because I'll come back next month. We do not need smart meters. What we need is smart commissioners on the Public Utility Commission. Who will vote on all items using intelligence, integrity, and empathy. Thank you.
I was out
of town for a few weeks. When I came back, she told me about an incident where it turns out it must have been that she was sitting on our couch in the living room. We found out that we have a gas meter behind there. She was trying to get in our house one day after she lives there all the time, okay? She said that a 10 on a scale of 10, pulsing pain in the head, pins and needles sensation throughout the body. I'm reading from her handwriting right here. Sensitivity to light, sounds, touch, everything registered as 10 on a scale of 10 pain. Inability to stop crying. Loss of all functions due to pain. Inability to speak. For the week after that, she was unable to find words. She had constant, groggy, dreamlike state, inability to comprehend lectures and course material. She also told me when she came in the house that day, she was so weak she couldn't even close the door of the apartment. She had to call her friend to drive across town to take care of her that day. PG&E will tell you that these frequencies are so low they couldn't possibly hurt you. If you look up Cindy Sage and David O. Carpenter's on public health implications of wireless technology, page 5, paragraph 3, paragraph 2, it will tell you that the lower the signal, the more health problems. They have upside down, lying, reversing, everything. Also, you cannot charge people to not do this to you. My symptoms are much worse now. I'm just telling you about hers.
Thank you. Okay.
Santa Cruz County. I would urge the commissioners to vote against Commissioner Peavy's proposed decision because it is rife with inaccuracies, with omissions, and from the very beginning, you must go back to when the decisions were formed, and there has been no opt-in option for people to opt in to smart meters. There has only been an opt-out. I cannot opt out for something I have not opted in for, nor can anybody else. Therefore, opt-in should only be for those people who choose to have smart meters installed. Later on, if they see that they are suffering ill effects, they are suffering from anything else from smart meters, they may opt out as an option. But to opt in, we must have a choice. And I cannot choose to opt in when I hear so many people who are suffering ill effects from these meters. I do not, but I support in all my Constitution those declarations we have heard time after time after time, the babies that we have seen pictures of today, and so forth. So vote against this, go back to stage one, which should have been done many, many months, if not years ago.
Thank you.
And start over again.
A mess on your hands, don't you? I want to believe in you, commissioners. You are all very bright people. I've read your bios. And I am a high IQ person. I do not have I wasn't a Rhodes Scholar like Commissioner Sandoval. Everybody here is reminding you of whatever your mission statement must be, which is to protect us, to protect our health. And we're sitting here begging you to protect us. But I believe that's why you were appointed, and I want to remind you of that too. And to have the emotional and mind and empathetic intelligence to serve us, not corporate interests. I'm here because, and I've been here several times, because I've become electrically sensitive since the installation, as has my son, who already has special needs, who does not sleep, who's 9 years old, who we have detected smart meter signals in his bedroom from the neighbor. Now, I'm very bright, but I was very ignorant the first time I spoke here. Out of desperation, I said, I will pay. Why don't we have a fee to opt out? I said that. I was very naive, and it's not right. I can't pay for my next door neighbor. And it's also very embarrassing. You go down my neighborhood, hi, I'm electrically sensitive. You know, it's why should I have to do that. It's like I'm paying ransom to get my health back, to get my analog meter back. It's like someone is in my house blowing secondhand smoke in my face all day, and I have to say, I'll pay you not to do that anymore. I've become ill from this. I like my block to be smart meter free, so I can sleep. I sleep 4 hours a night. My son is 9 years old. He already has autism issues. Please help us. I want to believe in you. I don't want to criticize you. I want to believe you're good people. So do that.
My life is electrosensitive, and what is being described is electromagnetic injury, or radio wave sickness, or microwave syndrome. And I'm here in part to bring up something about other forms of radiation. They're all deadly. The Connection magazine had an article that studied that Fukushima killed at least 14,000 people in the U.S., mostly babies, in weeks following the disaster. I believe that was a PG&E plant, as is the one at Diablo Canyon. They should all be shut down. And I have a book, Poison Power, The Case Against Nuclear Power Plants, by Dr. John Goffman and Arthur Tamplin from 1971. And the chapter is Any Amount of Radiation Safe. Here's a quote. Gobbledygook has characterized all efforts to set so-called safe or allowable standards for industrial poisons, radioactive or other. In truth, standard setters know full well there is no evidence for any safe amount of a poison such as radiation or radioactivity. This whole program needs to be abandoned. There needs to be criminal prosecution of PG&E. We need local utilities only in safe technology. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Angela Flynn from Santa Cruz County.
Mike, can't hear you. Mike.
Good morning. It's Angela Flynn from Santa Cruz County. There's a saying about electrohypersensitivity. You don't get it until you get it. The effects are cumulative, and those of us who have got it want to prevent others from getting it. We all know that the FCC guidelines are not protective, and we all know that fiber optics is the only system that will meet the purpose of a truly smart grid. I request the CPUC recall wireless smart meters, this wireless mesh grid, and replace it with a fiber optic system. You all can continue on with the business as usual, placing profits over our health, or you can be heroes.
Thank you. You just have it close to you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Margaret Carmen. I'm a chiropractor in San Luis Obispo. And I've had several patients that they can no longer live in their house. I don't like to visit my boyfriend because while he was in Australia without permission after he asked PG&E not to put a smart meter on his house, he has a smart meter. So, and at my house, I don't sleep very well anymore. So this is a problem. I want to promote health for people, and I know that that's what your mission is too. And so there should be no smart meters anywhere. I mean, the other lady brought up the smoking ban. So we're a smoke-free state. We should be a smart meter-free state. The people in the room that are majorly electric sensitive, it is affecting everyone. PG&E has been using consultants that they are paid to say what PG&E wants to hear. Please, no smart meters, and we should not be charged because the people that are sick are the people that are the most sensitive. They don't have any money to support themselves now, much less to pay PG&E more money for analog meters.
Thank you.
San Luis Obispo County, we decided at 8 o'clock last night to drive up here to make our stand. I'm an electronic engineer from Cal Poly. Dr. Margaret is an incredible healer. I was trained as a healer as a teenager with Dr. Carl Stolker, who was the president of California Chapter Chiropractic Society for 15 years. I work on people all the time. It's a passion of mine. My table, my $10,000 chiropractic table, is within 7 feet of my smart meter. I have issues with people that are having tinnitus problems and physical ailments, and they will not come anywhere near my meter, just as Dr. Margaret does not like coming up, but we're very close, so we try and keep our distance from it. As an engineer and a manufacturer of electronics, I am appalled that these meters are not UL listed. What is up with that? How can you push something so universal as a meter that measures everything we have going through our house, where even a little extension cord has to have a UL listing? This is atrocious, and it's simple extortion for us to have to pay to have these darn things removed from us. I've got very expensive equipment, $100,000 meters that I use to measure RF energy. I'm a broadcast engineer for public radio. This is simply atrocious to stuff this down our throats and then make us pay for it. Thank you.
Technician in Boulder Creek, and in Boulder Creek we have giant redwood trees. Okay, our smart meter was right in a little cabin right next to us. I did not realize it until I started feeling like I was getting arthritis in my arms, and I couldn't sleep. Every half hour I'd wake up. We took it under our own power to remove it. I know how to take. We ripped them off the smart meter. We put our own. We bought our own analog. We put it on. My symptoms went away. In 2 weeks, my symptoms went away. We got PG&E to finally go ahead and take our gas one out. Now we have an analog one in, and we have bus bars. PG&E actually put bus bars on our house. My symptoms have almost completely gone away. I can sleep now, and that's why I wanted to let the folks know that I am proof that this stuff is happening. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Josh Hart, and I am Director of Stop Smart Meters. We refuse to pay a fee to opt out of a system we never opted into. We refuse to accept a poorly tested, inaccurate, radiation-emitting fire risk in and on our homes. We don't come here asking for your permission to opt out from the smart meter program or provide relief from a system that is harming California families. We come here to remind you that devices forced on our homes and into our communities will not be tolerated. Your commission is directly responsible for this debacle that has sickened thousands of us. You lazily relied on outdated FCC regulations when the scale of the deployment required extra diligence. You parroted industry claims of carbon reduction and efficiency, yet PG&E reported no demand reduction in its recent report to this agency. Greater customer engagement was promised to us, yet less than 0.5% of customers have ever even logged on to PG&E's smart meter website. Resistance has been so great all around the state that installers have resorted to thug tactics, threatening residents, even assaulting people and their pets. Smart meter installations have been presented as mandatory, but without any legal justification for this mandate. The CPUC has sat idly by while ratepayers have been assaulted and abused by utilities and their contractors. As a result, we have a bloated, teetering smart meter program, a small cadre of venture capitalists, vultures gorging themselves on the public purse, mounting reports of health and fire damage, and a system in crisis, denying the inconvenient truth that the smart grid so far has proven to be a health and safety nightmare, a techno disaster worsening our carbon addiction, and alienating an already cynical public. If you vote for this extortionate policy, you'll be violating Section 453B of the State Utilities Code, which prohibits discrimination based on medical condition. We refuse to pay this extortionate opt-out fee. Our health, our privacy, our safety are not for sale. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've had the privilege of being associated with the StopSmartMeters.org organization for the past year and a half. In that time, I have heard countless dozens of stories from adults about the ill effects that they have experienced from smart meters immediately after the installation. These stories are real, the pain and hurt is real. It immediately makes me think of pregnant women and the effects on fetuses with developing brains. They cannot speak on their own behalf, but if they could, I'm wondering what they would say. I urge the commissioners to do the right thing and implement a no-fee opt-out option. If you don't do it for us, please do it for our kids.
Thank you.
My name is Monique Sheehan. I live in a home that no longer has smart meters. I am the rogue person who took off their smart meter and let PG&E know after exhaustive attempts to get help from them. I'm also the one that had to go and take off the digital one after they had assured me that the digital was exactly like the analog, which we all know is not true. I wish I could say that my symptoms have gone away. I can't even imagine what I would be experiencing now if the smart meter was still on my home. I am picking up levels from dirty electricity and smart meter radiation bouncing off transfer lines and into my home at 400 times acceptable US levels. I am still sick. An opt-out isn't going to work unless it's 100% down. If this was a car, if these were baby toys, if this was something else, these meters would have been down yesterday. Yeah. I do not understand why a recall has not been ordered until things have been proved safe.
Ann Smith, Peace and Freedom Party. It is the position of Peace and Freedom Party that all utilities should be in the public sector, yes, and not in the private sector. However, we're faced in California with private sector utilities. And in that case, when there are additional costs that are not the fault of the ratepayer or consumer, those costs should be absorbed by the investors in the companies involved. And the cost should not just be these opt-outs, because everyone should opt out of this program. All smart meters should be removed. And that cost should be borne by PG&E and its investors. This was a horrible idea, illegal, and the suffering, those will probably take lawsuits to address the suffering people have had because of this. But we are on record as opposing any kind of Wi-Fi use in the smart grid.
The influence of electrosmog on the human body is a known problem. 2004, the Swiss telecom company Swisscom. The adverse effects of electromagnetic radiation from mobile phones and communication towers on health of human beings is well documented today. Government of India, October of 2011. 143 proteins dysregulated in the mammalian brain by RF in the cerebellum, hippocampus, and frontal lobes, important centers for learning and memory. Electromagnetic biology and medicine last month. And why are we putting Wi-Fi in schools? Cell phones and cell tower radiation decreases hormone levels of cortisol, ACTH, prolactin in young girls, and testosterone. Clinical biochemistry in November. Cancer initiating and cancer promoting effects, loss of memory and cognitive function, disruption of endocrine and immune system, stress reaction, and more from the Ecolog Institute study done for T-Mobile in the year 2000. And yet this commission is considering broadband grants for wireless internet, basic telephone service that includes wireless cell phones, and wireless and digital smart meter opt-outs when the whole program should be banned.
Right on.
There is one quote I'd like to close with. There are no current relevant public health safety standards for pulsed RF involving chronic exposure of the public. That is from Santa Cruz County Health Department Health Officer Dr. Namcom. To all the telecom people in the room and the utility companies, the telecom people have known this for years. And it's time that we drop this whole house of cards we built on the wireless industry. Thank you.
I bring a list of utility and CPUC and commissioner violations of constitutional, civil, and criminal laws. The Commission has failed to carry out its duties in the following ways: failure to order a CPRA, failure to order a health investigation, refusal to accommodate disabled and those with medical conditions, failure to act swiftly to relieve pain and suffering of complainants, allowed the use of force and the threat of force, and thereby willfully injured, intimidated, interfered with, and oppressed customers' free exercise and enjoyment of privileges and rights secured to the customer by the Constitution and laws of the state and the Constitution and laws of the United States. Forced product and service on customer without informed consent and by misrepresentation of the nature and characteristics of the product or service. Used unsafe and untested, defective product causing harm and property damage. Falsely induced by intentional misrepresentation, acceptance of defective product. Falsely represented to customers that federal or state legislation gave the customer no choice but to accept such defective product in violation of the customer's civil, consumer, and constitutional rights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's very important for people today to realize that what we're seeing here is a result. Because if you do your research, go to the United Nations Agenda 21. It's an international law that is being imposed in the United States and in other countries. Go look online to find out what's really going on here. That's one issue. The other issue is I work in the computer industry, and people are talking a lot about health. That's very important. We also need to look at the privacy issues. If I'm in my home and radio frequency is measuring when I'm in my home, when I'm not in my home, that's one issue. That's going to be in a database. But it is also hackable. People get hacked all the time. The military organizations are hacked, are constantly subject to these things. So one of my concerns is privacy issues. People need to look at that. Please look and do your research, Agenda 21, United Nations.
Okay.
Hi, Commissioners. Thanks for letting me come here to talk. It's very sad. I mean, I sit back there and I do get very sad. I don't want to be in my position. I don't want to be in your position. We've got a real problem here, and it's, talking about it, unfortunately, just yelling and screaming is all we can do, it seems. I know you guys got a letter this past week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, from the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, a bunch of doctors who just felt, well, they had to speak up because they know about this type of thing, and it's great that they did. They're upset when large populations are going to be placed at health risk. And we're talking about a large population here. Most people have some sensitivity to to RF, but 3% of the population is known to express it and feels it and can report that they feel it, which amounts to over 1 million people in California. Over 1 million people. Now you're hearing some of them here in the audience, and they're talking about it, but there are lots of other people out there that are just plain sick, don't even know that they're part of that 3%. So, I'm sorry, what? 3 or 4. 3% or more. Okay.
3 to 5.
Okay. Yeah, there's quite a few, and I think the microphone's off. I think it's your responsibility to try to save us from additional pain from this, if you would.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Barry Smith. I'm Director of Alliance for Human and Environmental Health, located in Point Reyes. And where I live in West Marin, there's an overwhelming opposition to the installation of smart meters. And one thing that's concerned me is that the opt-out program has always been approached as a matter of individual choice. But given the nature of it, that it's a mesh network, that approach does not seem adequate. So I would like to ask you, in addition to considering the individual opt-out, to allow for neighborhood and community-wide opt-out. One very practical way to do that is to respect the existing moratoriums passed by a variety of jurisdictions. For example, for me, the Marin County Board of Supervisors just reaffirmed their moratorium on smart meters this year until December 31st, 2012. So that would allow for time to explore and come up with a suitable community-wide opt-out. Thank you.
Thank you.
In 2008, I had an electromagnetic technician come in because I was having hyperarousal sensitivity issues. He determined that the Wi-Fi on my DSL modem was transmitting, and through other measurements, he determined the dirty electricity coming from the various components and all that. So then, about 2 years ago, I discovered that smart meter deployment was going on, and that without my knowing of it, that pg&e had installed them on my home in October 2008. And now I understand now why my hyperarousal, my anxiety, my never before experienced insomnia has been increasing. I had him come back in May 2010 to measure. What I have here is the before and after report that shows the increase in the low frequency electromagnetic fields that come through my home because of the smart meters, how often they are emitting, which is in direct contrast to what pg&e says they emit. And so this report explains to me and can explain to you the dangers of the frequencies coming into my home, the symptoms I've been experiencing, the vertigo, the hyperarousal, the anxiety, the sleeplessness, the pulsing in my ears, the tinnitus, and when I pull into my driveway in my home, I get this pressure between my head that does not happen any other place that I go. So I'm certain that the smart meters need to come out. I want a no-cost opt-out program, and I agree with everything else that was said here, and I want to keep my landline as well. Please do your job, protect the public health.
Thank you. Right on. Thank
you. When I was renting in Oakland, I was on pg&e's delay list because it was documented by my doctor that I suffered from electromagnetic hypersensitivity. I do not use a cell phone. I have had to wrap computers in aluminum foil because I'm affected by them. When a whole office system was installed in my office, I had to have them move the phone out of my office because I suffered from tinnitus. I finally achieved my dream of buying a house at age 63. I'm weeks from retirement, and my house is unsafe. I have had trouble sleeping for the first time in my life. And it began when I moved in there. And also I have headaches, I have tinnitus when I'm at home, and our houses are close together in my neighborhood. And my neighbor's smart meter is about a driveway width from my son's bedroom. We need to have these removed. I'm not in a high-income neighborhood. I can't afford to pay for my neighbor's removal of their smart meters. And I honestly don't think it's fair that I should pay for something I didn't want in the first place.
Right on.
First of all, no one asked for these so-called smart meters, so we're all wondering why we have them if we didn't have a choice. I think, personally, you listen to all these people, all of them should be removed and replaced at no charge.
Now.
Yeah. If you want to stop all of our visits to your meetings, because I can tell how bored you are, I watch you. You're not paying attention to half of this. If you want to stop all this, then just remove and replace at no charge.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Larry Bragman, Fairfax Town Council, and I'm here today on behalf of the residents of Fairfax and the other moratorium communities. We believe that the proposed decision imposes discriminatory fees against customers based on medical condition in violation of California Public Utility Code Section 453B. I'm here to urge you to issue an order today staying installation in Fairfax and other moratorium communities pending outcome of the Commission's consideration of Phase 2 opt-out proposals. A petition to this effect was sent to you by my office last week. We overnighted it to you. It was signed by the elected representatives of the County of Marin, Lake County, Santa Cruz County, Town of Fairfax, Town of Ross, and other elected officials. I'd like to give you a copy of that today. And I'm here to urge you to help us help you protect the health and safety of our residents and to help you create a safe and more secure grid. Thank you very much.
California. The CPUC stated in decision number 10-12-001 that they rejected the proposal to ban smart meters because PG&E asserted that the contribution of meters to radiation is very small and each transmission burst of RF energy is 1/6,000. That's 1/6,000 of the FCC limit at 10 feet. However, in actuality, even the conservative California Council of Science Technology report on smart meters states on page 19, shows a chart indicating that smart meters, each transmission burst is actually only 165th of the FCC limit. That's 3.6 microwatts per centimeter squared. That's a 100% duty cycle. This makes a difference because a science article in the International Journal of Cancer Prevention by Wolf and Wolf entitled "An Increased Incidence of Cancer Near Cell phone transmitter stations," this is dated 2004, reveal a 4 times increase in cancer at levels 10 times lower than the amount indicated in the CCST report. Please, we don't have to pay for not smoking, and it's wrong to make us pay to not have a radiating smart meter on our home. Please, no cost opt-out.
I'm presenting you with about 130 pages of signatures of people who want to opt out, sent to me by Elizabeth Danis, I may have it spelled wrong, from Southern California, who collected them in a few weeks from all over California, the United States, and the world. Unfortunately, this morning I ran out of ink before I could print all the pages, so this is incomplete. And the first page got a little smudged, and I couldn't reprint it. The statement on the petition, in part, says people should not be charged a penny to retain their health and privacy. Smart meters and smart grid is an assault on the health of Americans and an assault on our privacy. This includes many personal statements. Also, I wanted to say that I met my meter reader for the first time about a month ago. I saw a young man run in my yard and run right out in a matter of seconds. And he told me I was the only analog person in the neighborhood. He wants to keep his job. So I would look forward to a decision of no fees to keep our analog for reasons you have heard. And I want to keep my landline also.
Thank you.
All PG&E customers have already paid via the utility bill the analog meters that have been removed. And we will continue to pay those higher bills for another 10 years. Our rates also have the cost of 12-month meter reader visits built in. This money is not scheduled to be refunded, whether a person accepts a smart meter or not. We further are being forced to pay roughly $500 per customer in higher rates to cover the $2.2 billion cost already approved for the smart meter program. Now we are being asked to pay high and arbitrary amounts to cover an initial analog meter installation visit, plus ongoing meter reader visits. The initial visit fee will apply even if we already have retained our analog meters, and thus don't need a site visit for a meter installation. These charges are arbitrary and unfair. They are extortion.
Here first. I'm Alexander Binnick from Fairfax. This decision is supposed to provide relief to those not able to tolerate smart meters, but it is a hoax. In reality, in past, it will make things even worse for PG&E customers than the existing situation. It is intended to actually achieve 2 things. 1, protect PG&E profits, and 2, ensure that very few customers will in fact opt out, thus keeping a high number of installed smart meters. The decision also eliminates the delay list. This is arbitrary and in no way justifiable, since maintaining the present delay list until the second phase was completed could be done at virtually no additional expense. Instead, customers who have retained their analog meters will now immediately be notified by PG&E. They have only 30 days to opt for paying these fees, or they'll be forced to have smart meters installed. This sneaky provision illustrates how the promise of a second phase of the proceedings to, quote, consider cost and cost allocation issues is a fiction. because customers will already have been forced to pay the large initial fee, which will be non-refundable no matter what outcome the second phase produces. Just another case of subterfuge hidden under the surface of this decision. Extortion is defined as obtaining money by coercive threat to cause harm unless one pays protection money. Being required to pay opt-out fees in order to avoid harmful radiation is therefore equivalent to the coercion used by criminal gangs from the 20s right after the mafia. It's also analogous to the notorious poll taxes frequently imposed in the southern U.S. to keep African Americans from being able to vote. Like in that situation, we're being forced to pay high fees in order to maintain our rights to health, safety, and privacy. But these civil rights can't be bought or sold, and the CPUC's fees are immoral and shameful.
Thank you.
Given this, how deep do you have to bury your consciences in your hearts in order to approve fees for those opting out?
Thank you. You know, staff, we have to do a little better job on this, and these people just keep kind of coming wandering up. We have the process. It's very clear. You have to sign up
I
by
understand.
9
I know I
a.m.
have a legal right to speak, and I'm so grateful to be able to have this right. It's not, I don't know. It's not on.
They turned it off. They turned it off.
Okay. I'm excited to be here.
Who are you?
My name is Jen Pleasant. I'm a mother in Portola Valley, and I've suffered debilitating migraines since the day my smart meter was installed every single day. So I'm here to have it removed. However, this is a great day because it's a day that you guys have an opportunity to be a hero. You know that we all know what happened with the Italian cruise line, and they told the captain, "Oh, you've got to go back to your ship. Go back to your ship." You know, they gave him a chance to be a hero, and he declined. This is you guys' chance to be heroes. I know you can. I know you can do the right thing for public health. I just want an opportunity to not have. I do not want a smart meter in my home. I want it removed, please. And of course, like other people, I don't want to have to pay a fee. But anyway, please do the right thing. This is your day where you can vote and make a difference. Thank you.
My name is Beata Antonich, and I only have one question. What gives pg&e the right to continue to knowingly do physical harm to fellow citizens?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, that ends that. Now we're going to turn to our regular agenda. Thank you all very much, over 60 people, and speaking and sharing with us your views.